at how to get started with a new Vectorworks drawing, setting up some classes, checking we're all right to go, and then just quickly look at some of the simple drawing tools we can use to get going using some of our Vectorworks drawing skills. So we've opened up Vectorworks, we're in our Spotlight mode, and if you want to check that, you can make sure you go Tools, Workspaces, and down here also Spotlight. But we're going to click New. Create a blank document, use document template. I'm going to suggest we use document template blank metric and click OK. And this is straight away going to open up a blank document for us. Sometimes some people don't see this grid and they see a page in the background or page size. First thing to do is check that away, and if we need to get rid of that, we're going to go File, Page Setup, and untick Show Page Boundary. So we're here and we are ready to set up our drawing and set up some classes that we're going to work with. The first thing I want to do is set my fill style to class style, set my fill color to color by class, set my pen to class style, set my pen color to color by class, and set my line weight to class thickness. This will just allow anything we do when we set up our classes to carry through over here with this style of drawing. I'm now going to set up some classes. I'm going to click on the Classes button, which will take me to my organization palette. We can also get here by clicking on the Layers button. I'm going to click New. This is just going to be a simple drawing, but if you're doing a more complex drawing and setting up more classes, you can set up as many as you want. For this, I'm just going to type drawing, and this is going to be the layer I do most of my drawing on. And I'm going to click OK. Here, I'm going to turn off Style, Fill Style None, Pen Style Solid. That all looks good to go. Click OK. If I want to change that later, I'm just going to click Edit, and we can come back in here and change that fill style, change that pen style. Okay. Next, I'm going to set up a hidden line style, or class, which is a class we can use to put things on when we know they're under it, or we're looking through something else. So we need to use the hidden line. Click New, Hidden Line. Edit Properties after creation will take us straight into that Edit Properties box. So fill style None. I really like to work with no fill style. And here I'm going to go Line Type. I'm just going to go Dash Style 1. Color Black. Okay. I'm just going to make sure my drawing is my active class. They can all be visible, they'll be on, and I'm going to leave my other classes there that were default in the drawing, just in case I need them later. Remembering the reason we use no fill style is so we can see through things as we draw them. Other classes you could set up include set, props, set flown items. You can really start to break down classes as you get deeper and deeper into your drawing. Click OK. We're going to click on our Layers button here, and we're just going to check that all our scales are the same. We only have one design layer in this, but remember we work at 1 to 1. This really doesn't change how we work editing this scale, but it's just going to make sure that as we work, all our scaling works correctly. So we're just going to click Edit on this design layer and click the Scale button, and we're going to change it to 1 to 1. Click OK, click OK. Design layer 1 is ready to go. And click OK to get out of there. So we are ready to go. We have some rulers around the outside that will tell us how zoomed in we are, or kind of the scale of something we're working at. And I'm just going to take you through some of the simple drawing tools we can use. The first one is the line tool. I'm going to select it. This is the line tool here. Drag a line across. I can drag it any direction I want, and I can set its length. I can set its length by dragging it out so I'm ready, or I can hit the tab button on my keyboard, type the amount I want, type the angle I want it at, hit enter twice, and that will draw my line. Now you can see my line has been drawn outside of the area I'm looking at. I can simply zoom out and pan up. I'm using a mouse, so my zoom and pan is built in, but you can zoom out using the zoom tools or just by scrolling out. and you can pan using the hand tool over in our basic tool set. Remembering that most of the tools we're going to need are in our basic tool set over here. Most tools we need for now. I have this selected, so I can also zoom to page area, which is in the incorrect spot, but I can zoom to the item I want, and it'll zoom it, or zoom to, what's it called, fit to objects. I'm going to keep drawing. The next thing I have to draw is a rectangle. There's different modes up here we can use to draw the rectangle. This one is diagonal point to point, so I'm going to click once, pull out. This can be, say, 1200 wide by 2400. Remember, I've gotten to editing these by once I've clicked once, hitting the tab key and beginning typing and hitting the tab to move to the next setting. Enter, and there is a rectangle. I can draw a rectangle with rounded edges. For example, that was that next tool. I can also draw a rectangle from the center out. So for example, if I find the center here, I'm just going to click no. If I find the center here and draw out, that's going to draw me a rectangle from that there to there. You can have I recommend you have a play with the different ways of drawing rectangles. I prefer to use corner to corner mode. We can then draw a circle with the circle tool. Clicking in the, I'm just going to move to the first tool, radius mode. Clicking in the center and working out where I can set my radius. I want this to be a 1200 millimeter radius circle, and that's it there. I may want to draw a circle from here to here, knowing that those are my extreme points. I can move to my diameter mode where I start there, pull and drag and click across, and that's going to do that. They're just a couple of the modes for the circle tool, but they are useful. I'm just going to zoom out a bit more so I've got some more space to look at how we can draw some things. The oval tool. The first option here in our oval tool is diagonal points, where we click across and we go diagonally and create. I'm going to go 3000, and that is going to create an oval that size. That can be a little, that mode can be a little hard to operate. I prefer to use height and width mode, which allow me to have control and go, I'm going to draw an oval that is 2000 horizontal and then 1000 in the vertical. That gives me a little more control over the overall size of my oval, for example. The next is my arc mode, or my arc tool, which is where we can draw different types of arcs. The first one is radius mode, where I select the center and then move across, select the width or the radius, and then I can stop at any point along there. This is good for door arcs or anything where you know where you want to start, move across, and then go to. The next is the 3 points mode with the arc tool, where we select 3 points and it will create an arc that works between those 3 points, using those kind of 3 points as the handles or the anchor points. And then again, there are lots more different types of arc modes you can use, and I suggest you go and play with them. A couple more drawing tools that are quite simple. Our polyline tool. This allows us to draw a shape of using a series of straight lines and arcs. For the first example, I'm just going to draw a shape, a custom shape, using a selection of straight lines where I've started, and I come back to the endpoint, and you'll see that's created one shape. Remember, we like to use closed shapes, so in the future when we work into 3D, we've got these shapes that we can automatically build up and edit to create 3D shapes. The next one's a bit difficult, but you can, again, give it a go. But using the polyline tool, again, I'm going to start a shape, and then I'm going to come over here and click the radius mode, and it's, after my next click, going to start creating handles or anchor points where I can use my radius from. If I come back, and that's created a more organic shape using a series of radiuses. Again, having a play with these tools can't hurt finding out how they work. The last tool, or one of the last tools, is just the 2D polygon mode. It's much like the other one, the polyline tool, but it just doesn't give me the opportunity to ever go into an arc. But what it can do is I can draw using a series of lines back in my line tool here, a series of lines that are a shape, and then if I come to my polygon tool, using the fill bucket, if I click in between, that is going to turn that series of lines into a polygon for me. So that is a useful tool to come back to and use once you've done something and want to create a polygon out of it. The last tool is the regular polygon tool, where we set a number of sides. For example, here with 3 sides, we're going to draw a rectangle, and the first mode is inscribe mode, which means it's going to have it inside the radius of a circle. And then if I change my side, say I want 8, and the circumscribed mode, it's going to have it outside the radius of the circle. But because I've chosen 8, it's drawing me an even-sided polygon where I have control over the radius size. So those are some of the tools we can use to draw things with. Next, we're going to look at tools where we can use to alter. So the first one is the fillet tool. The way we use the fillet tool is by selecting it, selecting a fillet radius. I'm going to select 300, just because I know some of these shapes are pretty big. Then I'm going to come over here to this shape, and I'm going to curve or fillet this corner. So first, I'm going to select the first line, and then the second line I want. This first one has left that original section there. If I change here to trim mode, the next one I do, it's just going to trim the excess lines. Oh no, it's not. It's going to leave it behind. It's because of my lines underneath from my other shape before. Let's go to a shape we know has no other things. This one here, trim mode, is going to trim the lines and just leave me with the shape I wanted. Chamfer is very similar, however it's going to do it with a straight line instead of a curved line. So I'm going to go 200 by 200 again here, or 200 by 100, and you can see how the chamfer mode we have some control over the depth of our cuts. So that's because it's uneven, so it's gone 100 here, 200 there, because that was the first line I clicked and that was the second line I clicked. I could set it even, 200 by 200, find another shape that I want to chamfer. Here we go, over here. And it's evenly chamfered those corners there. The next tool we're going to look at is the offset tool. I'm going to select this circle, and I'm going to say, here is the offset tool here. I want it to be 100 millimeters bigger. So I'm going to set my distance there, and it's going to go on the side I click. I want it to be bigger, so I'm going to click on the outside of the shape. If I wanted it smaller, I can come back to the offset tool and click on the inside of the shape I want to change. So, a few more tools. I love these 3 circles, and I want more of them mirrored directly opposite. I'm going to select them, use the mirror tool, which is this one here, and draw a click one and click twice in the direction I want to mirror it. Imagine that this line is the mirror it's going to bounce back off of in a way. There we go. And there we have more because I have mirrored them. That's useful, for example, if you're drawing a table. I quickly draw a table. And I've gone and drawn some legs on the inside. We're just going to zoom in here. And I want to, with that selected, mirror that perfectly to the other side. I'm going to use my snapping to find center, go across, that's done. I can also mirror it and not retain the original object by changing my item here. So if I do that, that's just going to move it across. But we want that to retain that object, so we're going to do that. And then we can quickly work our way around the table, mirroring the direction we want, and there are hypothetically 4 legs. We know those legs are underneath, so one of the things we could go and do right now is move them to our other class, our hidden line class. I've selected them here. I'm going to, in my object info palette, go class, hidden line. But one of the things I know is that this, I would like this to be a bit bigger. I could use my offset tool. I can also come over into object info and change it. I want it to be bigger on all sides, but I want it to edit from the middle. Remember, these 9 dots are the anchor point at which we can edit from when editing some of these things here. So I'm going to select the middle one, and I'm going to make it 1300 by 1300. 100. And that is going to quite accurately, using that middle point, change the size of that rectangle. So these are some good little tips and tricks of things that we can do. One of the last things I want to show you today is how to use the move tool. So this is great. I've drawn my table, but I actually want it to be on the inside of this circle here. Hypothetically, this could be 3 steps in a platform, and this large table is going to go in the middle of it. So I'm going to select this and use my Move by Points tool. Remembering that this tool has lots of ways we can use it. The first is just a simple move. So I'm going to use my snapping tools to find the center, and then find the center of that. So I've moved that table into the center of my circle. This time I'm going to move it over into this circle, but I want to duplicate it. So I'm going to go to this mode here, which is the move and duplicate mode, and I just want to make sure this box is highlighted, object retention mode. That's going to leave the object where it was that we're copying. Center across. Now we've got 2 of them. This is getting pretty easy. I could want 5 of them. Number of duplicates 5. Center. And if I go this way, I want them to be 3,000 millimeters apart. Enter. And that set me up 6 tables, or 5 because I duplicated it 5 times apart. Thank you for listening, and that is how we use some of our simple Vectorworks tools.